This is my butterfly makeup tutorial. You can learn from this, you can recreate it, it's up to you. I done this so you can see the whole process. This took me just under 6 hours to do. I was absolutely knackered, I'm not gonna lie. I was so knackered, just from sitting there as well. It's so uncomfortable on the floor. You don't have to do this step if you don't feel like you need to. I just usually map out where I'm going to pop my paint. I mean, not all the time. I can just go in and start with the paint, but it is nice to have like a guide. This is just a Doll Beauty lip liner, so it's pretty easy to just wipe off. I done this look a couple of years ago. I think I'd done it just on my eyes, though I didn't do like a full makeup chest type of makeup, so I just done it in blue, and I love blues. I love wearing blue. I really enjoy working with blue as well, but I do a lot of my looks, I'd say, in blue just because I think it looks really nice. But I thought, you know what, I'm gonna go for pink, orange, like peachy yellows today, so I thought I'll switch it up and do a few different colours, and to be honest, it turned out really nice. I really enjoyed doing this. If you're going to do a look like this, make sure you stick your brows down. I just use the Duo glue. It's the eyelash glue. It just works a treat, honestly, it does. And it takes like a couple of times scrubbing your eyebrows to get it off, but it doesn't pull any hairs off, which is fine. And I'm just going to go in all over my eyebrows to make sure these are stuck down completely. Then I go in with like the end of a makeup brush and roll it up my eyebrows, you'll see now, just to make sure that every eyebrow hair is stuck down. Then I'm going to go in and pat it down with some, I use the RCMA translucent powder. I mean, you can use any powder really, but like a powder is better than a pressed powder. More of a loose powder because it just goes everywhere. It can fully saturate your eyebrows. And then I'm going to go in with a concealer and then powder it again. I started this look at like 11:45 in the day, and I didn't finish till literally like 10 to 6 maybe. I was knackered. People just probably think that you sit there on a floor, and yeah, it's fine, you know, it's not like I'm doing loads of activities, but my back, I suffer with my back anyway, but my back is literally in agony, and I always try and correct my posture and sit up straight, but I think because I don't sit up straight all the time, that hurts anyway. But whatever, it's fine. I try and sit straight just to help me back a little bit, but I think it is really hard on your back, especially when you're trying to focus and sit still. Also, I was like swapping and changing, sitting on a blanket and then a pillow because my bum was so numb. I feel like these makeups in this time of year is just when I come alive. Like, I love doing theatrical makeup, Halloween makeup, anything like that. I do like doing a bit of SFX as well, but I just feel like I'm good at art. I was good at art in school, and this like works into that because I do feel like I'm good at drawing as well. So I really enjoy doing looks like this, and I love the fact that you start with a clean base and then by the end of it you don't even look like yourself. Ginny and Georgia is one of my comfort shows, this and the Gilmore Girls, so I had Ginny and Georgia on the back. I must have gone through about 45 episodes by the time this had finished, and do you know what, it just gets you through it. It's a long process and you're just segregated in your room doing this, so I thought, why not pop on a comfort show to watch. I'm going to go in with a few colours, and I try and mix a few colours. So I did use an orange, and then I mixed an orange with a red just at the bottom. I didn't really want a bright red because I've got it next to it, but I just wanted something like just a bit peachy but darker than a peach. I hope that makes sense. But anyway, it melted together really well and it looked really nice. I can't believe I've got a 6-hour video down to 39 minutes or something. It just shows you how long it actually takes. And don't get me wrong, when you're doing this and you're doing a look like this and that's theatrical, there's a lot of work in it. I am very precise and I'm very detailed, so I make sure I get everything perfect. Probably that's my fault because it just takes a long time. But when you're doing something like this, I feel like the hours fly by. I'm not even joking. I looked up and it was 4 hours and I was like, oh my God, didn't realise. And then the next minute it was like 6 hours. But it does fly, and I think obviously when you're doing something you really enjoy, it does fly by really easily. Now, I done one of the sides white. I was going to do like a yellowy colour blended into orange, but yeah, I had to change it in the end. I took it off and done like a peach colour instead. I feel like it just didn't go with the vibe because obviously the other side is like pink, red, orange, peach, pink, orange. So I did eventually change that to like an orangey peach colour. So I don't really ever follow like inspiration. Sometimes I get a bit inspired by people, but I don't really have like a plan like that when I'm going to do looks. I just think of it and start doing it. But I did do this a while ago. I've got a video of a blue, greeny, turquoise kind of one that I've done. I loved it. I done it over my eyes and that was honestly gorgeous. It just turned out really nice. But I thought this time I'm going to go bigger. And why not? I've got space to do it. I know what I'm doing. So I thought, let's do a full makeup all on my chest. And I love it. I feel like it just ties the whole look in together. So as you can see, I'm switching from like my brush to my beauty blender. This is just because the beauty blender blends everything in so seamlessly. Like there's no marks, no gaps, there's no streaks. It just blends everything in really nice together. I know a lot of people ask me about Halloween makeups and they're always like, how do you do this? I can't even do this. I can't do this, can't do that. And I thought, you know what, why not make it a series where I'm going to show everyone what I do. I'm not trying to gatekeep anything. It's fine. And if you can, you know, follow this tutorial and recreate it, that's amazing. I'm really proud. Like, I would never think, oh, well, it's my secret, I'm not going to tell anyone. If you can do it and you find that you can do it from this video, good for you. Like, you may as well use it as like a guide to help you. And then why not? I think it's good to give yourself a go and just see how good it ends up. Like, there's been times that I've done makeup that I've even halfway through and I'm like, right, this is awful, I'll take it off. And I literally take it off and I've been doing it for like 3 or 4 hours already. That's the worst when you've been doing a look for so long. Either you lose the motivation because you're just not feeling it and something's gone wrong that you think, oh, I'm not doing it anymore, I've just had enough. Or it just doesn't look right. And I've had plenty of them times where, to be honest, I've got close to the end and I've just thought, this is not looking how I want it to look. And I've just took it all off. I've tried to, like, you know, perfect it and make it look how I wanted it to look, but then I'm like, no, it's just not working, let's get it off. I've had enough. But luckily this wasn't the problem today. I really enjoyed doing this look, and I feel like if I'm working with like a fun type of drawing or creation that I can do, I love it. I love doing makeup, always will love doing makeup, but theatrical makeup is like my favourite thing to do. I literally come alive when it's time to do theatrical makeup. Normally when I'm like doing theatrical makeup, I do hold a mirror, like you can see now, very close to my face. I don't know if it's because I'm so obsessed with detail and I'm a perfectionist and need to make sure everything's right. And it's probably something I shouldn't really care about, but I feel like if I'm going to spend this long doing a makeup look, I want to make sure that it's perfect. Every line is crisp. So yeah, I think I'm probably a bit too much perfectionist and maybe I should loosen up a little bit. But as I said, I normally have the makeup mirror so close to my face when I'm doing a makeup, just for the lines and detail. So I kept trying to keep the mirror out of view, but it really was hard. Some of the videos I've had to go in and like remove a little bit of the clips and like edit it out because I've been putting the mirror right in front of the camera. I just forgot it was there. As soon as I started doing makeup, I literally forgot the camera was there. So I did put the mirror in front of me camera a few times. And then I feel like I'm just in the zone when I'm doing makeup. I don't really think of anything else. All I'm thinking of is what colour's next or what have I got to do next, is the shading and stuff like that. When you start a makeup look like this, it's got to be something that you think, trust the process, because at the start, it does look a bit, oh, like it's not going to turn out right. Even if I know what I'm doing, I've got a plan, I know where everything's going to go, I know what design I want and what colours I want to do. There's times when like I will sit there and I'm halfway through and I'm thinking, oh my God, maybe I've trusted the process too much, like it's not going to work. I think it was like this with the white, what I'm doing now. I thought if I'd done white, the yellow would really stand out and it just wasn't working. And I thought, no, like I'm not wasting me time on this. Like I'm just going to go over it with a different colour because I just don't have time, honestly. Like I was already a couple of hours deep at the moment and I was like, no, just going to change the colour and let's just move on. And I'm glad I did because it looks so much better now and I feel like it blends a lot more with the makeup and the end result, it does look really, really well together. I remember being younger and I was about 16, 17 and I'd watch people on YouTube doing makeup and I'd be like trying to recreate what they're doing. I loved it so much and I don't know why I never done it. I think I just wasn't as confident as I am now, but I wanted to do YouTube so bad. Like, I loved the thought of being a beauty guru or a beauty creator. I just loved it. I love watching people. So doing it now and getting into it now really makes me happy, because also I know a lot of people say to me, I'd love to be able to do that, I wouldn't know where to start. And like, if they want a Halloween makeup and they can't get in with me, they're always like, oh, I wish you'd tell me how to do it, or I can never find what I want to do. So if there is a look that you're thinking, I won't have time to get my makeup done or whatever, if you want it to be shown how to be done, let me know and I will do what I can to show you. I'm all for doing makeup, so when I've got the time I'll practice a lot of things that I've got. I've done a few makeups that I think, you know what, this is like my favourite. I do love makeups like this, but I done one makeup which was like a Halloween makeup of the film Sinister. I don't know whether anyone's seen the video, but I loved it. It was literally one of the best makeups I've ever done, and I used loads of SFX stuff. Oh my gosh, it turned out so nice. And I wish I'd done YouTube before I'd done that video, because it was so good. I don't know whether I'll be better at it if I recreate it again or not. I do have the videos of it on my social media already, so if you haven't seen it, go and watch it. I done it on my dad and it was literally incredible. I was really scared about how I'm going to do it, because it's a lot of makeup and it's so detailed and it was so time consuming. That took us hours, about 8 hours as well. And my dad got like liquid latex and prosthetics over his mouth, his eyes and everything. So bless him, he was a good sport. He really just sat there and done it. But he couldn't eat, couldn't drink or anything. So it did take a long time to do. And I'd love to do it again, but it was just so detailed that I think I've got to be in the zone to want to do it. But I love doing Pennywise. That's one of my favourite makeups to do. I get asked to do that quite a bit. And even for like people who come to get Halloween makeup done, they're like, oh my god, I want Pennywise. But I can't do it as good as like what I do on myself, just because that look does take hours and people want it done within an hour, so it's really hard. As soon as I seen this part be done, I just had to take a minute break because I was really struggling. My back was killing. I don't know whether it's because I'm hunched over. I don't know, maybe it's just getting to old age, I don't really know, but my back was killing so bad and I was just so tired. I was like, oh my god, I've been doing this for hours. But then obviously it motivates you to say like, no, let's just keep going, let's get this done, because you have took hours on it. You don't want to waste that time, but it does take a long time, which is really hard when you just sat there. You've got a numb bum, it's really sore off the floor. So I just have to keep swapping and changing with blankets and pillows. But I do love when you start doing the outlines, because I feel like this is where the look comes in together. It just creates the finished product without even being finished. Because by the time I was doing these on the butterfly, I knew that the whole look was coming together. And I know they're just dots, but I even love it when you start doing the dots on the wings, I think it is, because that really pulls it all together. And as soon as I started doing the dots on my chest, I knew that my chest was basically done, because it just ties it all together. I think doing my chest is the most time consuming. Obviously when I'm going onto my face, I want to make sure this looks the best, because this is like the first thing that people are going to see. But my chest is just a bigger surface area, so it takes the longest. So I know when I'm getting to like the dots, I'm like, yes, I'm near the end of one area. And then I'm like, oh my god, I've got to do my face. When you're doing a makeup like this, just make sure you've got a real steady hand. There's sometimes that I had to put my arms on like my knees and stuff to really give myself support. So if you do have steady hands, that's fine. You're going to absolutely kill it anyway. But if you have shaky hands, just maybe lean on something when you're doing such intricate lines, because they do get wobbly, they can smudge. And make sure that when you're doing your makeup like this, if it's underneath your neck where you're looking down at a crease, just let it dry for a couple of seconds and then you can move on and look down or look round, just because it does crease or it can blend onto something else. And when you spend hours doing it, you don't really want to ruin it. As a makeup artist, you know you could sit there for absolute hours. Like Sometimes 12 hours doing a look, it is just a lot, don't get me wrong. But I think when you start seeing the look coming together, it just motivates you to carry on. I love it so much. So with a butterfly, I always try and keep the lines curved. So as you can see, you know, when I join it up to a wall or I join the lines together, like inside the butterfly wings, I make them rounded. I just feel like having straight lines or spiked lines, it doesn't flow with the butterfly theme. And obviously having the rounded lines really does make it look better. And I feel like if you mess up somewhere, you could just add a rounded line. I've done that multiple times, and you know, it doesn't make that much of a difference. But in general, I think it's nice to have the rounded lines, and you could put a few little dots, like I will do soon, inside them lines. I picked the worst day to do this makeup. I think it was about 100 odd degrees. I was absolutely sweating, and obviously having this on your face, it just feels like it would melt off within an instant. I was literally sweating so bad. Maybe I should do it more often when it's like cold outside. You don't have to do this underneath your neck. I do because I felt like it really tied the look in together, but you don't have to do it. And then I took a sip of my drink and I realised, oh my god, I've just wiped off all my lip makeup. So I got a straw and I had to sip through a straw. But then I needed to eat, so I was like, oh my god, I'm just going to have to do it all again. So I used a Snazaroo paint. Someone else told me to use, I can't remember the name, but it's like an acrylic paint, which is meant to be really good for like makeup like this, theatrical makeup. So I need to get my hands on it, to be honest. I was going to go the other day to the shop to buy more, but I literally forgot while I was out. So I was thinking, right, I'm just going to have to use this Snazaroo. I've used this before, and honestly, I think it does really, really work. The only thing I can say is if you had it on for a long time, it does like crack. So just beware of that with the Snazaroo paints, but they're really affordable to get. And obviously if you're just doing the makeup on yourself, you're not really bothered. So I use this completely. Now I mix the white paint and get it to like a real thick consistency. It's not loose or anything and not watery, it is thick. So I can just pick it up on the back of my makeup brush like I'm doing now and just dot it everywhere. And it creates like a thick chunky circle as well. And as you can see, straight away these circles and the dots have just made that look on my chest completely transform and look finished. But as I said before, make sure when you're doing this, keep your head up for a couple of minutes just to let it fully dry before you start looking down, just in case you do crease your neck as you're looking down and then the paint spills to another place. I've done it loads of times and it's white and it's spilled into like the powdered area of the colour, and I'm just like, oh my god, I'm gonna have to start all over again. And you can fix it, but it's just a nightmare. And obviously if you can stop it, that'll be better. Just don't do it in the first place. This was the point now where my legs were killing. My back was killing, my arms were killing, but my legs, I just kept swapping and changing for my legs. I'd have them crossed, then I'd sit on the side, then I'd sit on the left side, just because, oh my gosh, sitting on the floor is just so hard. Like my bum was in agony, but I had to carry on. So I'm just going to shade in the bits of the makeup now in a darker colour. You can do this anywhere. I just like shading it in where there's a darker colour, like the red or the dark orange, just to give it that definition. It can make it look highlighted as well, like it's popping out, but I feel like it adds a lot of definition. I know it's something so small, you don't have to do it, but I like it. It just brings the look together and it looks really like 3D. It's dead nice. But as I said, if you recreate this, you can use any type of colours, do it any way you like. It doesn't have to be the same, and make it your own unique look. So there has been times that I have got inspiration of someone, but I've added my own unique look as well, because you want your type of style on it. You want your look, your signature look that you have. So everyone says, oh, I know so-and-so does this and that looks like so-and-so's work because it's the way they do it. That's what you want. And I do get a lot of comments, a lot saying, oh, I could tell that was yours because I could see the way you've done it, or I could tell it was yours because you're good at this makeup or whatever. And even though the dots, it doesn't half take a long time to do the dots. You don't think it does, but it does. It really takes a lot of time. So as you can see, I'm just going to go in with a big fluffy brush, and that's where I blend out a lot of the colour. So with a small dense brush, and I mean small, like a brush for your waterline, I will go in and do what I'm doing now, which is like adding shading, adding that dimension, but then you can go with a fluffy brush and add more colour to the bigger parts of the area. The bigger brush will just give you more of a blended look. Obviously the smaller brush is like, that really does add a lot of definition to it. So I'm going to go around the edges with like a darker colour. On the red, I didn't really have a dark red, so I've used like a burgundy colour, but I've only used it lightly. But then I'll buff it out with the bigger powder brush, just so it's got like that seamless blend into the wings. So obviously when you're putting white over black, you're going to have like not a clear white to start with, so I do like going back in with another white colour and just popping it on top and really using a lot of product this time to make it stand out. At this point I was really tired. I was so knackered and I hadn't even like started my face yet, so I just got some food to keep me going, and I had multiple drinks in my room just to keep me going and keep me sane, give me that boost that I needed to keep going with this makeup. A lot of people ask me how I blend so well. So do you know what? Sometimes I think, oh my gosh, that's not blended the best. And I really do stress over it. But we're all human. We all have got to learn somewhere. I know when I started makeup, oh my gosh, I was awful. And I could never do looks like this. I could draw perfect. But learning how to paint it was hard. I was really good at drawing in school, but when they give me a project that I had to paint, I was awful. So it is just trial and error, as I said before. Just keep going and just trying different looks, trying different colours. Try and do stuff that you think, no, I can't do that, it's too much. Like it's out of what I'm capable of doing, because you'll really impress yourself. And even if it's not right the first time, it will be right the second time. And I do think you need to give yourself a lot of second chances, because I know that the majority of the time the first go isn't the best. And I've done loads of looks and I've got to the end and I have fully wiped it off, and it's took me hours, 5 or 6 hours, and I've took it off because I've known, okay, it's not the best, but I tried. And then I'll give it a go again, where I think, you know what, I'm really glad I've done that last time, because I've learned for this time it's much better. I know there's been a few times that I've done makeup on my dad, like Halloween makeup, and we have sat there and howled because it just looked awful. And I'm not joking, it is awful. And I don't know why he carried on to let me finish the look, because it just was awful. I remember not too long ago we tried a Halloween look and it just was not okay. Like, I don't know what was wrong with me. I think I'd not done a makeup for a long time, but he will tell you himself that makeup was awful. And I was just thinking, no, I can't show this. But you know what? Showing it is probably the best thing, because we're all human. We all do things right and wrong, and you've got to learn. So if there is another makeup that I do on him or myself that I think, no, this is not okay, I will completely finish the look, but I will show you that just because it doesn't look the best, you can still make it look good. So now this is where we get into it, because we are doing my face, and I love when you get to the face part, because you know that the look is going to come together within minutes, and it's just going to look really good. I like it when the look starts to tie together, because it gives you that motivation to think, I've actually done something here and it looks really good, and you can't wait to finish it. But remember, if you're going to do something, even if you've done a little bit wrong, try not to rush it, because you're going to start making it a mess. I've done it before years ago when I've thought, oh my god, this is amazing, I need to get it done and take photos, and then I've rushed it and I just think, oh my god, I could have done well better than that. So make sure that if you're going to do a look, don't rush it. You will get there eventually, and you can get like the best content and photos you can have. Now, when I done this, obviously it's meant to be symmetrical. They're not meant to be twins, they're meant to be sisters, but I think I've done a pretty good job getting it as close as I can to being symmetrical. And obviously when you're working with a black colour, you've got to just be careful, because there's no colour that's going to go over it, and obviously you might have to remove it and start again. At this point it had been 4 hours. Oh my gosh, I was tired. My back was broke. I just wanted to lie down and just rescue my back because it was so sore. I do have a lot of problems with my back, I think that's why, but I was just so tired and hungry and thirsty, but I really did love it. The way this turned out, I loved it so much. And obviously you've got to get into the detail. The brush I'm using now is a really fine pencil brush. So it has got like a square tip on top, but it is very slim. So I can create like really good lines. And I know I've used one of the brushes that's like curved at the end and it is a liner brush, but I just feel like when you get used to your certain brush that you're used to, you're going to stick to them. And this one I love and I use religiously for my straight lines, just because it's so thin as well. It gives me the build that I need of the product, but it creates a thin line. As I said before, when you're working with black, you've got to make sure you just go really slow. Do not rush it at all. Yeah, you can remove it and, you know, it's only paint, but if you're going to remove something and you've already set the others with like a pressed eyeshadow, you don't want to remove that and then it not look right. If you remove a small section, you're not going to get that seamless blend again. You'll have to take off the whole thing. So if I done a messed up line here now around the orange and burnt orange look, then if I messed it up and tried to remove a little bit of the orange colour, I would have to take it off completely and start that little section again, because it wouldn't look how it did beforehand. It wouldn't have that seamless blend and you could tell that it's been removed. If this is something you want to see a lot more of, it doesn't even have to be Halloween time. If this is like some of the makeups you'd want to see, whether you do makeup yourself or you just find it interesting or you just love makeup, let me know. Give me your suggestions of what you'd want to see, because I'm really up for it. I will do anything and I will try anything. And obviously, even if it looks bad, I will upload it, because you can see that not everything is perfect and not everything goes the way you want it to go. But if there's a few looks that you'd want me to try, let me know. I done a Yoda look a couple of years ago. I absolutely loved it. I wish I recorded it. I didn't. But if you head over to my Instagram, you'll possibly see that there. But if there's a look that you think, oh, I really want to try this out, but I wouldn't know how to do it, because I know when you're starting to do a makeup look, it's not just a case of, oh, I'm just going to start painting and let's see what it ends up, because I feel like it's just fiddly. Then you start doing things that you think, I shouldn't have done that bit. And obviously if you're working with a darker colour or like a pressed powdered eyeshadow, if it goes wrong, you've got to remove it completely. So if there's something you'd want to see or you'd want to try out but you want me to try first, let me know, because I am happy to give it a go. And then I know sometimes there's things that I've thought, I wouldn't know how to start with this or don't know where to go with this. But then I've really sat down and thought about it or got inspiration from somewhere else and thought, you know what, that's how it's achieved or that's how it's done. So if I could help you in that way where you think I wouldn't know where to start, if I give you that guide, you possibly be able to do it easily, because you're just following what I do. We're not magicians. We can't just make it appear and be perfect. We're all human. It is going to take a lot of time to get a makeup completely right. And I'll hold my hands up. I'm one of the first to say that I've done a lot of makeups that I think, wow, this is awful. Like on myself, that I think this is just not good. I need to take this off and start again. And even though I've took 65 hours on it, I will take it off. If it is really bad and I just can't salvage it at all, I'll take it off. But the majority of the time I can tweak it or mess with it a little bit and make it look quite good. But I know a lot of makeup artists or beauty creators could let me know if there's like a good acrylic paint or any good face paints that you would recommend to use, because I do want to have a lot more in my kit and I do want something that wouldn't crack or break throughout the makeup. And as you can see here, if you were just looking at this now, I think because of the orange, you just think they're tiger stripes. And I was sat there at one point thinking, oh my gosh, these look like tiger stripes or like a cat, if that makes sense. And I was thinking, I'm going to have to really fix this and work with this. So it did change up a little bit at the end, because I just felt like it looked too much of like a tiger. And I was thinking, no, I can't leave it like this. So I kind of put them all together sort of at the end, and it just looked so much better. I'd done similar to what I'd done when I recreated this look a while ago when I was using blue, I did keep looking back at the photo to give myself inspiration of what is best and where to place things. Even though I just done it on my eyes, I felt like the guide was there to help me. But I do get asked a lot to show like the full creation of a makeup look, and I will do more often. I didn't really think of it at first because it's just a long process. Like, it takes me hours, and I think there's no look that's ever took me under the 4 hours. But if this is what you want to see, I'm happy to show you because it is fun, and it's fun watching it back to see what it looks like. As you can see, I'm swapping and changing from a big fluffy brush to a small definition brush, and this is just to carve out like the outer areas, as you can see there, and then I blend in either the pink colour or the orange colour with the big massive fluffy brush. I think as you're looking at me straight on, I keep on looking at myself thinking, oh my gosh, these look like tiger stripes. So you're probably thinking the same thing, but I kind of knew what I was going to do, so I wasn't really too bothered. But there's been times that I've sat there and been like, how can I save this? Because it's on there already and I'm just going to have to remove it, and I don't want to remove it. Even if you recreate this look, you don't have to do exactly what I've done. You can add your own twist, or you can just use the outline as a guide and then do what you want inside, change the colours. But I know I get a lot of comments about pinks and reds. I always have, and I don't know why, but pink and red is just a beautiful colour, so maybe that's why. But if you want to just do your own thing, you don't have to copy this fully or get inspiration from it. You could just use it as a guide to know where you're going to put your product and then use it as that. I could see the product coming together, like I see the light at the end of the tunnel, because it just makes it better when I see the makeup look blending together, coming together, adding like the final touches, because it just makes it amazing. It just looks amazing. As you can see now, this is where I thought, I'm going to add up the lines upwards, because that was like the butterfly vibe. Like, I feel like it looked so much better. I was going to do something else with them, but then I was like, no, I'm going to decide on this because I could add a little bit of like diamonds or white spots in the conjoined places. It's very rare that I do like a makeup look and I never use diamonds. I just feel like the gems just pull it together. Obviously there's certain things, if it's like real Halloween makeup, I'm not going to use it obviously, but if it's something like this or fun and girly, I have to add a few little gems because it just looks so nice on pictures as well. And obviously that glisten when you get a video, if you get your videos and you turn the exposure down, you'll be able to see them gems or diamonds really well. At this point, I could really see everything was coming together. Yes, I was tired. I don't know what hour I was on at this point, maybe 5, maybe 6. I don't even know, but I was tired and I could see it coming together, so it was fine. But I was just thinking, oh my gosh, I'm ready to finish this because it just took so long, but I know it's worth it in the end. I love doing makeup, honestly. It's one of my favourite things to do, and theatrical makeup especially. So as you can see here, I'm going back in with my thin defined brush just to really get straight edges on my lines. You want to make sure you're not using a brush that's thick or anything like that, because it won't give you them defined lines. So if you need to go back in and just amend your lines a little bit, just use the same thin liner brush that you've had and top up any mistakes or any bits of liner that you think need to be perfected. And as you can see on my sort of on my cheekbones there, the lines were really thin, which I was really wanting. Now, one of my favourite parts, but obviously still takes a long time, but it's my favourite part, is adding the dots. You can see straight away how much that look changes completely. Yeah, this was 5 hours at this point. I was really struggling. My back was hurting, my legs were hurting. But back to the story. You can see now that it just makes that look pop. And I add a few gems on the white dots or around the black lines or in the black lines, just to give it that extra sparkle. But I will add them sometimes on top of the white dots. Make sure you take your time with this. I would say you don't have to spend how many hours I spent, but just take your time, don't rush it. Obviously you don't want to mess up. You want to make sure you get the best look you can at the end and get them shots, get the pictures, the videos. So take your time and really think where you're going to add your makeup, because you don't want to overdo it, but you don't want to underdo it either. Don't get me wrong, when I first started doing makeup, I could not get symmetrical lines. And then looking at this now, looking back at it, I do feel like I really killed it with these lines. Like, they are very symmetrical on both sides of my face, as they can be, obviously. And if you're a makeup artist, you'll know I had to answer the door when I looked like this. Oh my gosh, I felt so embarrassed. The postman was just stood there like, you okay? And I've answered the door as Pennywise. Yeah, it's just, I've given a few jump scares, and people have just stood there looking at me thinking, are you okay? Like, you don't know what goes on in people's households, and that's just me. Because I've got a black outline, I didn't want to go in too much with black, so I went in with a grey colour. It's a really dark grey, but it's just to put around the borders of the outline of the wing, just to make it look as if it's floating off my skin. It's like a shadow look. Like before, when I was colouring in the colours on my skin, I use a small definition brush, but this one is rounded. You could use the other one, which was little and flat, but I wasn't really too bothered about getting this perfect because it was just like a small shadow. And then I will just blend the rest in with a big fluffy brush just onto my skin, so then it just looks like it's floating and it has that like 3D look to it. I done it with the same thing around the butterfly wings on my face. I didn't want too much, so I only done a tiny bit, but it just gave it that small little pop that I was looking for. And then sort of the last thing I need to do is I just add a quick liner to my eyelids. Does not have to be straight unless you want it to be, but mine was just thrown on. There was no straight lines. It was just so when I added my lashes on, there was no like gaps between my lash line and the eyeshadow. And I went for the biggest lashes I have, because I feel like it's a butterfly makeup. You've got to get with the biggest lashes you can have, and it just adds to that effect, doesn't it? I just felt like it really suited the look. You can't have butterfly makeup without big, massive, fluttery eyelashes. So I just added a small bit of liner just in my tear duct and just pulled it down, because I was going to put a few diamonds around that area. Now, as you can see, I'm just popping on diamonds. These are small ones. I do have bigger ones, and for the white big dots, I put on the bigger gems. I did put a few little ones on there as well, but for the bigger white dots, I've put on the bigger gems. If you record your videos in the low exposure, this just sets off the sparkle on them gems. It really does look amazing, and I think the low exposure as well just looks perfect. At this point, I was really struggling to sit up straight. I couldn't cope any longer, so I just wanted to get these dots on, get the gems on, and then I knew I'd be finished. I really love doing makeup like this. It is one of my biggest passions. I love it so much, and it just brings me so much joy that I have this talent to do, because I love it so much and I've done it for years, and just to be able to create looks like this makes me so happy. You'll have to let me know if you did recreate this look or something similar, and how you got on. Did this makeup tutorial help you at all? Was it useful? Because if it is, I will do more of these, and I will do a lot more of theatrical and SFX makeup if that's what you're after. I'm always very open about makeup and how I do it, so if there's something that you think, oh, how do I do this, or how will I learn to do that, let me know and I will try my best to explain it. I will give away all my secrets and help you out. Now, I appreciate for everyone, this is not an easy look and it does take time. But if you're willing to do it and you're willing to learn and you want to try a new look, maybe you haven't tried it at all, give this a go and see if it helps you out. Possibly having someone else's guide there will help you out even more, because you don't have to sit there and think of what you're going to do or how you're going to create this look. I did get to a point when I was thinking, oh my gosh, have I gone like gem happy? I think I got to a point when I was looking, thinking, right, I've popped on a few too many here, I'm going to have to stop. And then the powder got in my eyes and I had my contacts in. Oh, it wasn't a good combo. And I was done. Now this is the final look. I hope you love it. I absolutely love this look, and I just found it so cute and girly and pink, and it was one of my favourites that I've done. So let me know if you do recreate this, or if you have tried it, if anything was helpful. I would love to know if these tutorials are helpful for you. So let me know how you get on, and I hope you love this look.